On today's show, I'm going to talk about why tweets like this are fake news. Bethlehem, West Bank, Israeli occupation forces beat Palestinians. I'm also going to show you how easy it is to debunk these kinds of tweets. The BBC was called out this week for their inconsistent, to say the least, coverage of settlers and terrorism. And we're going to watch and destroy some more Jew-hating videos of the media that tend to go viral on social media. I'm Josiah, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Welcome back to the show. Thank you for tuning in today to hear what's actually happening in the land of Israel, guys. First off, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also hit that like button. It really helps us out, puts us out into the YouTube algorithm. Kind of have this feeling that YouTube and Google might be kind of, shadow banning us recently. Haven't been getting as many views as we usually do. So liking the video would greatly help us fight against the leftism and the anti-Israel bias in YouTube and Google. All right, guys, what is happening in Israel this week? So we have, there's a lot happening. Last week was Holocaust Remembrance Day, Holocaust Memorial Day. This actually starting tonight and tomorrow is Memorial Day in Israel, where they remember the fallen soldiers of Israel's forces and all the wars that have happened. Also, I think terrorist attacks. They remember those who have fallen in terrorist attacks as well. And then it moves right into Independence Day, which starts Tuesday night, goes into Wednesday, celebrating Israel's independence. And so this is a big, day for Israel to celebrate independence. And it's actually really cool the way Israel moves from honoring and remembering the fallen, those who gave their lives for the state of Israel, and moves right into celebrating that independence that those who gave their lives for, we remember them and honor them. Then you move right into celebrating that independence. So it's actually a really amazing time here in Israel to celebrate both those days consecutively, because you remember the fallen and then you go into the joy and the celebrations of the independence of Israel. Also, a little bit of personal story, but Ramadan, the Muslim holiday of Ramadan, ended on Friday, and then it began another holiday that they have after Ramadan. I think it's some places it's like 1 to 3 to 4 days. I'm not exactly sure, not that well versed in Islam and the customs of the Islamic religion. But from when I gathered, it's 1 to 3 days holiday, and it started the day after Ramadan. And yesterday, I went to the Temple Mount with our group of volunteers who are here from all over the world. And we went to go ascend the Temple Mount, as we usually do with all our groups, to show them the place, the holy site of the Temple Mount, walk around, all that kind of stuff. And it was closed because of this holiday that is continuing after Ramadan. Kind of crazy if you think about it, that no other religion in the world is catered to like this. You have the whole month of Ramadan, then the last 10 days, Israel closes the Temple Mount, and then for this additional holiday on top of that, they keep the Temple Mount closed. And in our case, we had people that came from all over the world on our volunteer trips, and this is their first chance to go up on the Temple Mount, and it was closed because of this holiday. And you see, as if their presence, and this is what the Muslims say, their presence going up to the Temple Mount and just walking around and visiting the site could somehow desecrate their holiday. And that's the reason that the Muslims want it to be closed during their holidays, is that so the infidels, those who are not a part of Islam, who come in and they're not even praying, they're not doing anything crazy, they're just walking around looking at the site, that somehow soils the consecration of the mount and somehow ruins their holiday. If you think about it, that doesn't happen in on the other side. Say Passover, for instance, on the Jewish down at the Western Wall, they welcome those from the nations to come and to come celebrate, to join in. Even if they don't join in, just for the tourists to come in and see the Western Wall, they welcome those from the nations, those who are not Jewish, even Muslims. They welcome them to come to the Western Wall. They don't have a problem with that at all. So rather crazy, but just a little personal note that the Temple Mount was closed yesterday, when I didn't even think about it, but I thought it should have been open now that Ramadan was over. So that was a little disappointing yesterday for our group of volunteers. All right, guys, we are going to talk about the BBC just a little bit here. Maybe we'll pick on them because maybe we won't pick on them, but we're going to talk about an Israeli MK who is picking on them, and rightly so, for their inconsistent coverage. I think inconsistent is to say the least. Maybe a little bit more of anti-Israel, somewhat Jew-hating coverage of Israel, and especially as regards to terrorism and settlers. So MK Ohad Tal from the Religious Zionism Party here in Israel sent a letter to the BBC Director General yesterday on Sunday. And in this letter, he demanded that the BBC update their guidelines for reporting on Israel in regards to settlers and terrorism. According to MK Ohad Tal, he said, as currently stated in the BBC's guidelines, they encourage, and I'll quote here, they encourage their reporters to, quote, include context to the effect that all settlements in the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, are considered illegal under international law, though Israel disputes this, end quote. So that's what Ohad Tal, the MK, said, that they encourage them to refer to all settlements as illegal. He said at the same time they discourage the use of terrorists or terrorism when reporting about attacks that happen here in Israel. Quote, nothing could be more ironic than the BBC repeatedly insisting and disseminating that settlements are illegal while refusing to stipulate that terrorism is illegal, or even, and that's the end of his quote, but I'm going to add on that even terrorism, they use the word terrorism or refer to these attacks as terrorism, which sometimes they do, but a lot of times they do not even mention that fact unless they have to, absolutely have to. So then he submitted his list of recommendations for the BBC to update their guidelines to maybe reflect more accuracy and more truth in their reporting. So this is his recommendations to the BBC in his letter. I thought these were very sensible, very, they were good, but they were just plain old sensible. He said, quote, the BBC articles should reflect that Israeli settlements rely on the opinions of experts versed in international law. Number two, BBC articles should specify that the position of the UN Security Council on Israel and the West Bank is a non-binding political decision and not a legal one. Absolutely true. If settlements are going to be referred to as illegal in BBC articles, then so should terrorism. And I'm just going to add this on, that even if settlements weren't referred to as illegal, terrorism should obviously, I mean, what happened to the world where terrorism is bad, right? That is the truth. That is the fact. Everybody knows this, and those churches, they try to deny it or whatever. Some people try to ignore it, but terrorism is bad, okay, on all accounts. It's just bad. You shouldn't have to say it's illegal, okay? He goes on, he says, the BBC should not require the mentioning of his settler illegality whenever settlers are mentioned. So then he told the BBC that, quote, when they write about the disputes of the legality of settlements, that they should say something like this. Many international lawyers argue that settlements are illegal. However, this is disputed by other international lawyers as well as Israel and the United States. So, end quote, international law, some people, I guess you could say there's different ways to interpret international law. So some lawyers argue that settlements are illegal under international law, while many other international lawyers who are well-versed in international law argue that that settlements inside Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, are completely legal according to international law. And this is what Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State under President Donald Trump, came to the conclusion when he was in office in the administration. He came to the conclusion after looking at all the facts, looking at international law, reviewing all the different viewpoints on the issue. He concluded that settlements were actually legal according to international law, that there is a very, very, very good case to say that settlements are legal according to international law. And it is all up to interpretation. There's different ways you can interpret, but the most commonly applied way to interpret international law, as applied in all other countries of the world, if you're going to go by that way to apply international law, then settlements are indeed legal inside of Judea and Samaria. So that was great. I thought that this MK called out the BBC for their inconsistency in reporting with Israel. And yes, we shouldn't have to call out media organizations who refuse to label things correctly, who refuse to say that the attacks that have been happening in Israel against Jews are terrorism. People that media agencies that refuse to say that, we shouldn't have to call that out. But when they don't, we need to call that out. We need to say this is wrong. This is anti-Israel. This is untrue. We just call out the untruth, the lies that they are putting forth as well. And yes, when they refer to settlements, they almost always say that the illegal, they just add that word, illegal settlements inside of the West Bank, and it convinces And even if it doesn't convince, it slowly brainwashes the viewers whenever they hear about the settlements. That word illegal is in there, and so then their opinions are unknowingly formed against the settlements and thinking that those are illegal. The Israel 365 Bible is an incredible resource for anyone seeking to deepen their understanding of the Bible and its connection to the land of Israel. Imagine exploring the same historical sites mentioned in the Bible, walking in the footsteps of the prophets and patriarchs, and experiencing the Holy Land of Israel like never before. Whether you're studying the Bible at home, in church, or on the go, the Israel 365 Bible provides a wealth of resources, including commentaries, maps, and historical insights to help you gain a deeper understanding of the biblical text. It's a resource that brings together people of all faiths who share a love and appreciation for the Holy Land. With the Israel 365 Bible, you'll also discover the beauty of Israel, from its stunning beaches and forests to its majestic mountains and deserts. So whether you're a pro-Israel Christian or someone who simply wants to learn more about the Bible and the Holy Land, the Israel 365 Bible is the perfect guide for your journey. Purchase your copy today at the link in the description below. All right, we're going to take a look at a video. This is from Al Jazeera Plus, who we talked about before, but they are very anti-Israel and are commonly and always reporting lies when they talk about what's happening inside of Israel. So we're going to watch this video from Al Jazeera Plus. This went on Shorts, and you might be surprised at how many views this got.
Here's garbage thrown by settlers on Palestinians in the middle of the marketplace. They have to protect themselves with nets.
احنا بعد مرات بتصير عندنا حالات كتير هون، يعني إذا شافونا مثلا نزلنا ببلش علينا بالحجار.
بس هون فوق في زي شبك.
بس بنزل الحجر عليهم. يعني قبل كم من يوم راحوا جابوا كانوا بدهم يحاولوا، قبل كم من يوم بلشوا علينا بالحجار، الحجار زي المطر، الحجار ببلش علينا يعني.
Just talking to her, it's really, you don't feel safe at all. You're constantly on high alert that they might throw something at you. It's not a life that people should or can accept.
بحسش بالأمان كتير. بتمنى إني أرحل.
So there you go. That's from Al Jazeera Plus, talking about why are these settlers? They throw garbage, they throw stones down on the Palestinians that live beneath them. Guys, the caption there said Hebron. I think it said Hebron, Palestine, maybe, but whatever it said. Hebron, I've been to Hebron. I can countless times. Can't even count how many times I've been to Hebron. I've visited the different people that live in Hebron on the Jewish side. The Jewish community inside of Hebron is extremely, extremely small. Put it in perspective. The community is right around the Cave of the Patriarchs. They live there. There's very, very few Jews that live there. And there's hundreds of thousands of Arabs that live in the Palestinian city of Hebron. This right here, what they're showing you, this netting with trash and stuff, this is not correct at all. This is not true. This does not exist, where Israelis live on top of Palestinians and they throw garbage and rocks down on the streets. This is complete lies. You could say that. And I like how they got to interview the little girl, the 13-year-old, to pull on people's heartstrings. Like this is happening all the time. While there are, and yes, they showed videos of Jews that maybe had a mask on and were throwing stones. There are cases, very, very rare, where you do have Jews that come out and they do something like this. They throw rocks at a Palestinian house or a Palestinian vehicle, something like that. There are cases of that, and that's where they got footage like this. But this happening on a daily basis, I'm sorry, is a complete and utter lie. On the contrary, especially what have been seeing in the last couple of weeks inside of Judea and Samaria, this has been happening to Jews from the Palestinian side almost every single day. And they have nothing. The Palestinians in Hebron have nothing to worry about as far as their safety. What they do have to worry about is their safety coming from their own government and those that keep them in these terrible living conditions inside the Palestinian city of Hebron. And this is not Israel's doing. This is not under Israel's jurisdiction to figure out how these people live and to care for them. This is the Palestinians' authority's position and responsibility to take care of these people. So this is completely false and a complete lie. But yeah, they do a good job of telling the false story to get you to believe this is what Israel's doing. And they like to pull on your heartstrings as well. I think that was pretty effective. But to give you another perspective, we're just going to throw a couple photos up here from Hebron of places that don't look like this that are represented in here. You have this university, you have all these photos of these beautiful houses, the colleges, hospitals, different places, banks inside of Hebron. It's not all like the media tells you. And guys, this video has 320,000 views on YouTube. This is a YouTube Shorts. 320,000 views. Why aren't the videos that actually tell the real story about Israel, why aren't they getting 300,000 millions of views on YouTube? And this right here, why is the Israel-hating Jew-hating Israel, anti-Israel videos, they're going viral and they're getting out to many people? Maybe because they're telling this false story, and a lot of times false stories, the media likes that much better, and it's much easier to sell when you sell lies, things like that fit the narrative and fit those the anti-Israel narrative that is prevalent in mainstream media and across the globe. So that is from Al Jazeera Plus. And by the way, I don't know if you went to our YouTube channel, we have that graphic up there that this channel has 1.29 million subscribers. And the Israel guys, we have 63,000 subscribers right now. We're growing every single day. But unfortunately, those who hate Israel, those who are spouting lies like this are growing much faster than we are. So we need to combat that. Maybe if you would subscribe, we'd really greatly appreciate that as well. All right, guys, for our fake news tweet of the day, before we close out here, this was on Twitter. We'll pull up this video here, and it says, Bethlehem, West Bank, Israeli occupation forces beat Palestinians south of the city yesterday as they were car drifting. This is the caption on the tweet. And as you can see, IDF soldiers are pulling these guys out of their vehicle. And so let's just step back and see the beating that takes place. What kind of beating? Okay, they pulling them out. They were obviously resisting like crazy. The soldier on the right fires a shot in the air to tell these guys, like, hey, this is serious and you can't be resisting like this. The other soldier pulls the guys out, and as soon as the soldier fires in the air, that's when the guys stop and realize, or they become more compliant and allow themselves to be arrested. But guys, just to put it in perspective, Israel does not go and beat random Palestinians. And in this case, I didn't hardly see any beating. These guys, there's no beating at all. These guys were being arrested, and Israel never arrests Palestinians without a very, very good reason. They're being arrested probably for terrorism activities. They're going to pull them out of their car. They're obviously resisting arrest. The IDF has to use physical force to pull them out of their cars. They're continuing to resist arrest. They fire shots in the air to tell them, guys, you have to shape up here. You can't be doing that. This could turn into a violent situation. They have no ideas if these guys are armed, they're going to pull out a weapon. Guys, this is what the IDF deals with every single day. And the reason we know this, says Bethlehem, West Bank, is because the IDF never goes in and beats up random Palestinians, innocent people. The IDF goes and takes out and it makes arrest, very specific, targeted arrest of these guys who are guilty of some crime or another. Most of the time, it's terrorism related to terrorism as well as that. So, guys, and just talking about viral, not exactly viral in your world standards, but as far as content like this is 20,000 views on Twitter, and this was just posted, I think, yesterday or maybe even today. 20,000 views on Twitter of the Israel doing terrible things, quote unquote, to the Palestinians. So, guys, this is a little bit what we're dealing with on the news, in the mainstream media, on social media every single day when it comes to Israel. But thank you for watching the Israel Guys, where we are telling you the truth about what is happening. Guys, subscribe, get the conversation going down below. Tell us what you think about these videos, and maybe share this content with more people so they can know what's actually happening in Israel. As always, tune out the fake news and tune into what is actually happening in the land of Israel. We'll be back every day, Monday through Friday, with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel.